Hello, everybody. Welcome to Weekly Horoscope with yours truly, Alexander. This is orientation for the week ahead. This week is all about only dead fish go with the flow. Why do I say that? Because Mars is going to move into Pisces, and I will dive into that in a moment. It is another big week because we're going to have a full moon, an eclipse, but you don't need to track every single transit that's going on. That's why I'm in here to unpack it for you because there's so many things going on in the background, and I just want you to kind of have an idea of what's going on and what you can do. Mercury retrograde is exposing, particularly this week, dependence on systems. If you need guidance on that, I do have a guide that you can go and download that breaks it down, the different phases of Mercury retrograde. But it includes everything that we depend on, like AI, monetization, validation loops, media, including social media, uh, all of that. And on Sunday, March begins. So it coincides. The beginning of the month, the beginning of the week, it's all packed into one kind of bucket of time, and it's not very small at all. But here is what really matters. Looking at the chart, it's like this week shows us where we have been forcing something that needed alignment instead. It wasn't ready. We pushed it. Why do I say that? Because there's a lot of undertones of Pluto this week. And Pluto is purifying, it's purging. So we're looking at whatever we are worshiping at the material level, at the physical level, money, control, dominance, technology. Pluto this week is intensifying it until it reveals the weakness that comes with it. Now, the issue isn't money. It isn't AI. It isn't the responsibilities that you have. It's mistaking mechanism for meaning. So this week is exposing really what those energies of Pluto where we have collapsed too early, where we have demanded manifestation before alignment. And it asks us to really trust in the unseen, which is a stretch for us because we want to work with things that we can taste, touch, and feel. But if we can trust the unseen long enough for the real form to appear, then we know we have something long lasting. So we don't need more force. We need to find our alignment. What is our alignment? And that is going to be the anchor for the week. Now, if you want support navigating this week, that feels really karmic on so many different levels, I have the full moon eclipse virtual ritual that you can tap into. It's going to help you organize all this energy so that it can be useful for you and you can release and tap into that energy that's there. So it exists for you if you feel called to that. I will drop some links somewhere. Also, this week, interesting, we have the sun is going to be making an aspect to Jupiter. Now, I have seen this play out before. I remember not too long ago, actually, I think it was in November of last year, so that's 2025. We had also the sun was trine Jupiter, and a friend of mine had been sitting on an idea of probably a year or more, where he wanted to pivot his career, not dramatically, just slightly, moving from a corporate situation into consulting on his own as a freelancer. So every time he talked about it, he'd say the same thing. I need to get another certification. I need the market to calm down. I need more savings first. And okay, he wasn't wrong. He just wasn't trusting himself. And there were so many different, excuses to not act. So that week of November, when the sun was making a trine to Jupiter, something very subtle shifted. And it can be the same for us as well. Like something subtle can shift. It's not always an explosion. Granted, we are in eclipse season. No miracle offer was landing in front of him, but he just one day woke up with more clarity. He wasn't manic or hyped up or anything like that, but he just had more clarity. So he updated his LinkedIn page and he reached out to 3 former colleagues. He posted a thoughtful article about his expertise, I think it was, and that was it. Like nothing huge, not a grand announcement like I'm launching, I'm breaking out, I'm, following my dreams. And within the days that followed, one of the colleagues replied, well, like, listen, we've actually been looking for someone like you. All right. And it turned into like a half-year contract, which is like, this is how it's like going on in these days now. And also some referrals. So this was actually really good. So the important part was that the opportunity didn't come from forcing the change. It came from the self-belief, the clarity that came from that. And that was expressed calmly, not frantically. And that can be Sun trine Jupiter for each of us. So when our identity, which is our sun, like what we need to become, and the ability to expand, which is Jupiter, like they are aligning, the world responds to, I guess you could say, like that congruence. So it's not like he was leaping off a cliff, even though breaking off and, going solo could be seen that way, but he was expanding from the grounded center of himself. And that's the difference, because I've also seen the Jupiter expand the ego, like when it's trining the sun. Sometimes everything feels so much bigger, like more visibility, more praise, the more need for praise because we're mistaking praise for affirmation. And maybe like then we're posting more online or we're speaking more boldly with people, even in meetings. We start saying yes to every opportunity. This is like a lot of this Jupiter expansion. And at first it feels very expansive, but it's going to come back. And let me explain it, because we stop listening with so much input, with so many things coming in. We kind of like shut down because our capacity becomes too full. It's not like a drip, it's a surge of energy. So it could be then like someone wants to give us constructive feedback, but there's no room. Like the ego doesn't want to hear it. We're going to brush it off. Or someone is raising a concern and we think, oh my God, like, this person's jealous of me. That can be Jupiter amplifying ego, the sun, our identity, and our identities are like, they're fragile at times. So, it could be then over time, the small tensions, they will turn into larger ones because that's that energy of Jupiter, God forbid. Maybe nothing catastrophic. It could be like a subtle over-exhaustion. Looking at the chart, it could be like too many commitments or a tone that feels a bit inflated, energy that feels more performative, like we're on stage, this kind of energy. So I've seen this happen, and what happens is that also people come back and they say, I feel bigger than I was, but I don't feel better than I was. And that's the shadow aspect of the Jupiter trine Sun. And okay, we have so much going on: Mercury retrograde, eclipse season, full moon, all that. So we need to be just very mindful of the inflated self perception, the over promising, the overestimation of our capacity. And so I'm not saying don't expand. What I'm saying is expand consciously. And that's because Jupiter will magnify whatever it is that you're feeding it. So that's quite a beautiful week that we have going on here. Of course, if you want in-depth breakdown of the week, I did do the write-up. You can find it on rxander.com. And that has also the daily transits, and also we have all the detailed horoscopes. But I want to go over just the days of the week, followed by the horoscopes for each sign, just to mention it in the podcast. All right, so looking at March 1st, which is Sunday, the beginning of the month and the beginning of the week. March is beginning with a dissolving and a beginning at the same time. So we want to zoom out, see the pattern that's playing out, and choose awareness over reaction with whatever it is that we're dealing with. So that's going to be on Sunday. On Monday, we're going to want to release something consciously. We have this eclipse full moon energy. Really mean it. Also, Mars is entering into Pisces, and it's going to kind of weaken our force, and it's going to strengthen our intuition. So we want to act from alignment rather than from that pressure that can come with the Mars energy. And be careful of passive aggressiveness too. Mars and Pisces can be sometimes passive aggressive. Tuesday, March 3rd, there can be some relationship themes that are increasing. The intensity is getting a little bit louder. So let the emotional truth rise. Let it surface. Don't try to control it. I would say completion requires acknowledgement. Then on Wednesday, March 4th, please watch your words. We still have Mercury retrograde. If you feel triggered, just stop. Just stop. Power struggles are going to reveal insecurities. So what we need to do is loosen our grip, notice what is going to shift as we're loosening those grips. Then on Thursday, March 5th, we want to be confident. We don't need to prove our strength. We just need to be strong with whatever it is that we're, working with. We need to live that strength. So just be grounded, choose expansion. It's all going to be good. And then Friday, March 6th, old wounds might surface for integration. I'm going to say that very important to be courageous with whatever it is that you're doing. It's good to have desires and intentions, but it could be we need to be direct with them, but we need to have our integrity also, with whatever it is that's going on. And then on Saturday, March 7th, the chart is showing us that there's it's an interesting aspect on that day. With Venus and Neptune. Actually, we have clarity and glamour are going to share the same room. So speak carefully, enjoy the inspiration, but just know what is up and what is down, what is left, what is right, because it can get all a little bit blurry. Like I said, the in-depth forecast is written online. Now, let's get into the horoscopes for each sign. Let's begin with Pisces because this is your season. Pisces, this week, the energy is rising and it's asking you to act with intention. Sensitivity is very powerful, but direction turns it into momentum. Aries, this week is refining your fire. If something is resisting force, do not push harder. Just adjust your timing. Power grows when your instincts are disciplined. Taurus, what feels insecure may not be fully aligned with what it is you're working on. So just let go gently this week. Stability isn't about holding on. So it's about evolving your foundation. Gemini, let's reduce noise this week. Question the narrative. Momentum without meaning is going to suck your energy dry. So you want to be precision in your thoughts, and that's going to restore your ability to influence people around you. Cancer, an emotional cycle is completing this week. Just let it happen, all right? It's not weak to be soft. It's how you move forward without schlepping really, the past with you. Leo, your pride is being refined this week. It's not being challenged, okay? So don't feel offended. Lead from authenticity instead of that performance energy. Influence deepens when you are softening your ego. Virgo, control is not the same as security. So in relationships, just loosen your grip just a little bit. Trust will accomplish what micromanagement cannot. Libra, balance requires honesty this week. Stop bending to preserve harmony. So we want to reciprocate. There's no need to get approval. We want to reciprocate. That is the new standard going forward from this week on. Scorpio, there's going to be some intensity, all right? It's eclipse, but it doesn't need to become a power struggle. Channel depth into creation or recreation and transformation, not into controlling more. Sagittarius, your beliefs are expanding, believe it or not. So think bigger than your current evidence. Growth is going to happen when you trust the unseen long enough. Capricorn, outdated structures are revealing their limits this week. So adjust strategically. Long-term authority requires flexibility. And Aquarius, let's reevaluate this week what truly holds value in your life. So systems, attention, and noise are not your purpose. If you have meaning about what it is that you're doing, it's going to restore clarity and it's going to give you really good energy and inspiration for whatever it is that you need to do. Okay, you guys? Beautiful. So, everybody have a good week. Please feel free to share this with anybody you think needs to hear it. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.